All right, so it goes by district. So Corey Edwards,
Here.
Crystal Francis, I saw you before.
I'm here. Yes.
Okay. Eric Washington.
Eric's here. Eric, you're here. Unmute Eric.
Justin Holliday. I see
Here.
you.
Yeah, you can unmute yourselves. I mean, I'm trying to find you, but it's easier.
Scott Halupka, I see you.
Yep.
Paul Conca.
Was that a here or I don't see him.
No, me either. All right. Tyler Hagan.
No.
Well, they may come late. Ed Livingston, I see you.
Yeah, I'm here.
Julie Sugar. All right. I know her husband was in the hospital, but Harry Banderi. Liz Brown.
Hello.
Here.
Emily Cook. Nina McHugh.
I'm here.
Margaret.
Yes, here.
Okay, we knew you were. And Danielle, I know you are. Jay Jalisi. Danny Blunt.
Did you call? Oh.
Danny, say something.
I see him.
I know.
Thank you, Danny.
Dolores Kelly. Pat Kelly. Linda Dorsey Walker. No, I see you. Me,
I'm here.
me too. John Hurt. Alejandra. Tara, yes. Kibby.
Here.
Yes, Kibby. No. Robert Benjamin.
Here.
Yes. Sam Moxley. Jason Garber. I see you.
I'm here.
I know you're JSG, but I see you. Scott Sokol. Who's in the second page here? All right. Jeff Bonner.
Here.
Thank you. Katie Dot.
Here.
Ann George.
Here.
Nope, you're not Ann George. You're George White.
Oh.
And I'll put you down. Bishop Barry.
Yes.
Yes, I saw him. All right. John. Charles Sidner.
I'm here.
Yes. Yes, and your poly background. All right.
That's right.
Well, I went to Western, so. All right, and then Mark Brewster.
Here.
Yep. Nana. Nana Phillipson.
Nana's here.
He's
Thanks.
here.
Danny Gollenbeck.
I'm here.
Who was that? Danny?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Red Cedar Gray. Charlie Smith. Tom Smith. Gottlieb. I thought I saw you. Cheryl, yes, you're there.
Cheryl's here.
Yes, I'm here.
I know you just didn't say it. All right, now, Sebastian, do you want to be called Philippe?
No, you can stick with Sebastian.
I can't hear you.
You can stick with Sebastian.
All right, okay, thank you. And then I see Leslie Grant. Are there other guests here? All right, Linda, I see you came on.
Did you call my name?
I did, well, yes, but I marked you here now. Is there anybody whose name I didn't call? All right, then. Okay. How many people do we need to have?
A quorum, we have 35 members right now.
Also 30 on here, 35.
17, 18.
Must
So
be
18,
35 on
18 would be
Here.
just over half.
All right, we have 22 members, so.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Oh, there's Tara.
I can't hear you.
Come on.
Louise.
Oh,
So,
there she is. She's
yeah,
back.
I got on. I might freeze again, but I'm on for now. So let's go ahead and vote for the minutes. We need to find out if someone is willing to move to accept the minutes. Who? Is there a motion on the floor?
Tara, let me mute everybody.
Okay, good.
Let me, okay.
All right, so all you have to do is raise your hand. Shoot, I'm freezing again. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I can't, nobody's moving.
Danielle, can you hear me?
Yes. Second,
I second,
who was that?
Bob.
Benjamin.
Thank you. It's hard to tell who from the. All right. Minutes approved. So I will send them to the state tomorrow. Treasurer's report, is that next?
Hey, Tara looks
Yes.
present again. Okay.
Yes, is it Katie?
Yes, the treasurer's report, basically, we had, yes. So,
I'm trying to unmute you, Katie.
there we go. All right, so we painted the office for $650, and we also had a $100 cleaning fee. It looks beautiful. When we can, we're gonna need to get people in there to move some for, I'm talking.
Katie, we kind of lost you there. Did you have more to say? I'm confused.
Katie?
So I gave the report. I don't know what's going on. I don't know whether we have too many people on or whatever, but there seems to be a lag.
Oh, okay. So you finished the report.
Sometimes I've heard it works better if people turn off their cameras, but then there's no way to prove that we are who we say we are. So I don't know what we want to do.
Katie, are you talking? Can't hear you.
Katie, can you
Katie, start
nod
talking,
whether you
please.
finished?
Here, hold on, let's mute everybody and then I'll unmute myself. Okay, let me, now I'm talking. Can you hear me? Okay, great. Okay. Okay, I'm getting some feedback. So basically what's happening is that we had a painting job of $650. And then we also had a cleaning of $100. So while the office was empty, does anybody have any questions?
Tara's telling me that we need to approve the treasurer's report and asking me to do it.
I have a
Go
question.
ahead. Okay,
I put a question in the chat.
okay. All right.
What's the question? What companies?
What can we identify what companies that provided those services?
Katie, can
And I'm
you?
answering it in the chat.
Right, so that's Alejandra's company?
Green Lime Cleaning.
Yeah, I believe that's Alejandra's company that she owns.
And the painting, or is that just the cleaning?
The painting was done by Alejandra's company, Green Lime, for $100. The painting was done by a contact of Alejandro's. I don't have his name in front of me, but basically they painted the whole basement, all the rooms. He did all, oh gosh.
So Katie, my question is, I see the 650 on here, then I see the, the office painting. So is the 100 incorporated in the 650?
No, the 100 is going to be in next month because she billed us late.
Okay, so I don't see it documented on the treasury report. That's why I was asking. Okay.
Okay, I'm just going to ask a process question. How was it determined who would do the work and the costs and all the rest of that? Because I don't remember us voting on it.
And did we get at least 3? Because usually you'll get at least 3 offers and then everyone decides.
I'm sorry, but I'm having a lot of trouble with audio.
Look, this is, I'm not saying this is not important questions. They should be answered, but I think Tara would be able to answer these questions, Tara and Katie, by email off. Since it's historical and we can't change the fact, I think they can answer your questions after this meeting.
But this is a public.
So can I say this is the proper way to do it in a meeting?
This is the proper way to do it.
And we're voting on
especially since we use the services of one of our own. This is the proper way to do it.
This is the way
you
to do
never
it.
voted. And
Yeah,
so
one at a
it
time,
has to
please.
be made public.
This was already in the budget that we were going to do some painting on the property. So basically, if you have any questions, I'm having trouble with the audio. So perhaps you and we can talk, we can talk, send an email and the executive committee can speak with you about it. But at
So
this
let's
point,
say this. Can you guys hear me? I'm the second vice chair. Can you hear me? So I'm going to carry on the discussion. I'm going to help out since your voice is not coming through only when you're speaking. So what I want to say is that usually the proper protocol is that we'll go through, we'll pick at least 3 people, you make a decision, and then you bring it back to the group and we'll decide who we're going to go with for the offer. This is something that's normal, it's handled every day. This is like my 5th Zoom call for today, and this is the process. So all we're asking is regular, normal questions of how this decision was made. Did we have a decision to pick between who and make the offers? That's all we're asking.
Tara was saying it was voted in committee in February. So it was approved, but I do agree with you on getting the 3 estimates. I think because of the issue with the COVID-19, this gentleman had actually offered to paint it for free. And basically he already gave us a reduced price. So, Tara, we were happy with the price. So, I apologize. In the future, I'm sure that we will go get 3 estimates. But, at this point, this is what happened. It was a conversation that started. We voted in committee in February about it. So that's what Tara's telling me on the text.
So I would like to say.
But I mean, in the interest of moving on, I understand what you're saying about having the 3 estimates. That's what I do in my own home. But at this point, this was somebody
I'm not talking about your home. Can I just say this? I don't need you to overtalk me. What I'm saying is that, and what you do in your own home, I'm sure we all do that. But what I'm saying, we did vote to have the painting and the cleaning all done, but we didn't vote on who was going to do it. So then moving forward, that's what we need to do. We need to follow proper protocol moving
Yeah,
forward.
especially since our central committee has gotten itself in trouble with the auditor before because of private arrangements that were made by one of our former chairs with people who were familiar with that chair. So we don't want to start going down that road again, where we start hiring ourselves or acquaintances of ourselves and getting in trouble with the auditor again.
Understood and agreed. Understood and agreed. I'm sure everybody on the executive committee agrees. Understood and agreed.
I just want to interject to Tracy that we've had Harry Bandari and Kibi Rada join the call for the minutes.
So so we had this discussion about what wasn't done according to protocol, or at least supposedly wasn't done according to protocol. I don't know what the bottom line is here, but if people are satisfied with that discussion at this point, to the extent that we can have it, can we go ahead to have a vote on whether to accept the treasurer's report or
Yes,
not?
I already asked that we move forward. Yes, we can, if everyone's ready.
So I would like to move the question to, I would like to have a vote. Danielle moved it. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, can you just raise your hand if you're aye?
Aye.
Okay, looks like I don't see any no's. Is anybody a no? Ed,
If
are
you
you a no?
disagree,
I don't
just
see the.
unmute yourself.
Ed, I don't see your hand. Is your hand up? Okay, good. Looks like it carried unanimously. If it did not, unmute yourself and let me know. Thank you. What's next on the agenda?
We're getting ready to have our guests on. Are you going to introduce, or would you like me to do it, Tara?
Danielle, I would like you to introduce them.
So good evening, everyone. My name is Danielle Winky Smith. I'm the second vice chair of the Central Committee for those of you who are not members and who are visiting. Right now, we will have a special guest. Our special guest will be Ms. Cheryl Landis. She is the chairwoman of Prince George's County Democratic State Central Committee and the interim DNC National Committee woman for the state of Maryland. Good evening, Cheryl, are you on? I can see your name. Can we unmute Cheryl, or she, okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Good
Okay,
evening. I
great.
just introduced you, Cheryl.
Well, thank you very much.
Cheryl, can you pause just a second? I want to mute everyone and make sure that we don't have background, and then we'll make sure that you're unmuted. I apologize. Okay, and unmute. Okay, please go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, so first of all, I want to thank Madam Chair and members of the Baltimore County Democratic Central Committee. It's indeed an honor to be with you this evening. I had hoped to be joined by my colleague on the DNC, Bailey Young Hung, but she has some personal family matters that she had to deal with this evening, so she's not on with us. She's dealing with, COVID-19 and family issues of that matter. So the threat of COVID-19, it has literally shaken the lives of every American. And it saddens me to say that since day one, number 45 has treated the pandemic like a PR crisis and a political opportunity to actually boost his approval ratings. And, he ignored the disease until it was too late, and he's failed to implement widespread testing. And nationally, unfortunately, I hate to say this, the United States, we now have the highest unemployment rate since 1982, the highest number of COVID-19 cases, and the highest number of COVID-19 deaths. And that's very sad. But in spite of it all, I do have to say that, our governors across the state, they have risen to the occasion by prioritizing the health and safety of Americans and letting science guide the conversations and actions that really need to be taken. So despite of his failure, number 45, in leadership, our elected governors, they help navigate us through these difficult times and put the needs of working families first. And I have no doubt that their measured leadership has actually helped to save lives. But as for our President, Donald Trump, I must emphatically state that America cannot afford another 4 years of a president who is not only unfit for office, but also makes decisions based on his own self-interest. That's why the 2020 presidential election is so important. That's why since I've been in the interim DNC committeewoman position, I've met with several central committees across the state. COVID-19 put a stop to that, but nonetheless, my whole thing has been about educating the various communities on how important it is that everybody vote. And so I'm just praying and hoping that that we can move forward together as the Democrats united and put a Democrat in the White House, our Democratic nominee, who right now is Biden, who is the presumptive nominee. And I'm just very passionate about it. So my presentation this evening will cover two main points. One will be the 2020 National Convention, and the other will be the Democratic National Committee, the DNC, and my role as interim DNC committee woman for Maryland. Now, I did provide in advance a packet of materials that had somewhat of a table of contents, information on vote by mail. There's a video that was provided. There's a Q&A document regarding the vote by mail, information about where you can drop off locations. I put the locations for Baltimore County in the document. I don't intend to actually go through the presentation, and it's really not my intent to have the video shown unless, of course, you would like to do so. I provided it as a source of information, something that you may want to consider sharing with your various constituencies and communities. Here in Prince George's County, there is some confusion about vote by mail, which is why I put this packet together the way that I did, because Thursday of this week, Thursday evening, I'm doing the same presentation in Prince George's County. I want to clarify and make certain that people understand what's at stake, and so that there's no confusion, and people need to vote, vote, vote. So I'm going to start first on the document that I provided. If you go to page 5, which talks about the convention, the upcoming convention. I've been in conversations with our state party chair. I know that the state party, they have been working diligently. They have been in conversations. Can you still see me? Okay. Yeah, they've been in conversations with the health officials in Wisconsin, and the convention is actually scheduled from Monday, August 17th through Thursday, August the 20th at the Visor Forum in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The Maryland Delegation Hotel is the DoubleTree by Hilton. And this pandemic has really caught everything by a storm. Many states, including Wisconsin and Illinois, they've responded to COVID-19 by instituting stay-at-home orders, which may, until they expire or are lifted, prevent convention delegates, personnel, invitees, and contractors from legally traveling to and physically congregating for the convention. So tomorrow evening, Wednesday, May 20th, the DNC will host a DNC member call, at which time an update will be given to us on the call of the 2020 DNC convention and the resolution that was actually approved by the DNC Rules and Bylaws Committee on May 12th. And I do know that the DNC membership will be asking us to adopt the resolution, which is deemed to provide maximum flexibility to allow the convention team to plan and prepare a convention that will give our nominee the best possible path forward to the general election. So some highlights of the resolution itself. What it does is it actually formalizes the new date for the convention, which is August 17th through the 20th, and it reaffirms the DNC's authority to plan, arrange, manage, and conduct the convention, including the authority to set and alter the date, timing, format, voting mechanism, structure, and other logistical aspects that are needed. It also provides flexibility to the DNC to have planned and execute a successful convention that is in line with public health recommendations. For example, seating of delegates and related issues prior to delegates convening for the convention. It recommends changes to the convention call to safeguard the ability of the validly elected convention delegates to participate in the convention in person or by means that allow for appropriate social distancing. It also allows the Credentials Committee report to be deemed approved and adopted upon passage by the committee. This establishes the permanent role of delegates who vote on convention business. And the convention's permanent rules and agenda and the selection of permanent convention officers will be deemed approved and adopted upon passage of the Rules Committee. So what this does is it actually formalizes the administrative rules that will actually govern the convention. And the report of the platform committee will be considered by all delegates. So in addition to the presidential and the vice presidential nominations and the convention delegates will also vote on any properly filled standing committee minority reports, special orders of business, resolutions, or charter amendments from the Rules Committee. So this COVID-19 has everybody spinning around because I've been trying to figure out how are they really going to make this work? Because you have thousands and thousands of Democrats who come to the convention, and I don't know how it's going to work. So I will definitely be on the call. And what I will do is I will take notes from the call and I will send via email an update to this report. I'll send it to your chair, so that she can disseminate it appropriately so that you'll know what the bottom line decisions have been. And then I also wanted to share with you, if you go to page 6, there where you will actually see the 2020 convention budget. And it's pretty healthy. And I don't need, it's $20 million. What is this? Yeah, $20 million for the convention. It's the staff, consultants. It's a very expensive event. So yeah, you have it on the screen. So I don't need to go through it. And then I want to move on to the DNC National Committee and what I have been doing since I was elected to the interim position. Now I will say that since I was elected interim, the DNC has not really had a meeting to which I was invited to attend. However, on January 25th to be exact, I was invited as a guest to attend the DNC Executive Committee meeting that was held in Washington, DC. Yvette invited me because I'm just interim. So that election will take place in June. But that was a good meeting. And I do recall I did type up minutes from that meeting and I emailed them to all members on the state Democratic Central Committee. So I hope you received it. And then on January the 28th, I also attended the University of Southern California. They launched in Columbia, Maryland, a 50-state training series titled Election Cybersecurity Initiative. I typed up notes from that event as well that I spent the day at, and I emailed them to all Democratic State Central Committee members. So I hope you got that as well. And I talked about how myself and Val Leon Hung, we've begun the process of meeting with central committees throughout the state. We met on February 1st. We attended the Frederick County Democratic Central Committee retreat. On February 9th, I was participated in the Maryland Democratic Party Credentials Committee public hearing. And then on February 12th, I participated in the DNC Women's Caucus rally called Zoom meeting. And then on February 20th, Val and myself, we attended the Calvert County Democratic Central Committee meeting. And then of course, COVID-19 rears its ugly head and we really haven't gone out to meet, but I do intend to continue. One thing that I really want to do is I really want to get to know what central committees throughout the state are actually involved in and what their needs are and how we can support one another. You know, one thing I would really like to see happen is that there be some like maybe like a chairs retreat or retreats for executive boards of the local central committee so that we can come together, maybe talk about best practices, what works, what doesn't work, how we can actually improve voter turnout. Because I know in 2016, based on data that I got from the DNC, that 85 million eligible voters did not vote in 2016. And that's just sad. And it tells me that we need to change what we're doing. We can't keep doing the same thing and expect different results. And some people become so cynical about the state of the world and American politics that they never vote. You know, they think, why should I vote when everything is so messed up? You know, what's really in it for me? And my response is very nicely, I said, you know what, that's a self-defeating attitude that feeds upon itself and does nothing but perpetuate more of the mess that you're complaining about. You know, we can either decide to be a positive agent for change, get in the game and try to make a difference, but we can stay up in the bleachers and complain about what's wrong. So I just see the role of central committees throughout the state is we have to educate our constituency on how important it is to vote. We got to turn out to vote, so on, so on, so on. So let me move on to the Democratic National Committee. One of the things I've been very passionate about is really just to figure out how it works, the organizational structure. You know, they have standing committees, they have regional, the standing committees are rules and bylaws, resolutions, credentials, and budget. Then under that, they have like regional caucuses, councils, and constituency caucuses. So trying to learn and understand how the DNC really works and what their strategic vision was as we approach 2020 presidential election, I've really delved really deep into and done a lot of research, which is why I presented the report to you the way that I did, because I wanted you to have, I mean, I could have done a PowerPoint and I could have, you know, just talked and you not have anything. But when I meet with central committees across the state, I always like to leave something tangible so that you can refer back to it. You can share it with your network, which I think is very, very important. So that's why I did it the way that it is. And I encourage you, you may use this information any way you deem appropriate. And I would be honored if you were to do so. So I will say that in preparation for the 2020 presidential election, the DNC, they have actually been very, very proactive in spite of COVID-19 and also understanding the fact that this is the new norm for campaigning. It's digital organizing across the country. And we've all had to adjust. I mean, it's been difficult. And so one of the things that they have done, I mean, I did the research and I get all the emails, and they're utilizing digital organizing as a tool to create communities. And creating communities, it's what, grassroots volunteers, people that we all deal with you know, within our communities, and supporters. And you know, they've been working to increase efficiency, identify leads, and tell the story of campaigns and organizations across the country for voter registration, house parties, community events, commitment to vote on campaigns, et cetera, et cetera. They've also been very diligent in terms of ramping up its data and technology infrastructure. Now, if you look at the budget for the convention, you'll see that a tremendous amount of money has been dedicated specifically for that, which is very, very important. They've been hosting webinars and trainings and seminars on fundraising strategies, virtual meetings, town halls, et cetera. They've also organizing the capacity of grassroots volunteers in 6 key battleground states, which would be Arizona, Florida, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. Teams and delegations of Marylanders have gone to these states before COVID-19, but you know, we're doing phone banking there, which is also important. And organizing local grassroots groups and establishing priorities for them. Because a lot of times I find that people want to become involved, but they don't know how to become involved. They don't know what to do. So I feel like we have a responsibility to provide opportunities for them. So this organizing local grassroots groups is one of the strategies that I've implemented here in Prince George's County. And it's really about relationship building and coordination among various grassroots groups and supporting the turnout in the Maryland primary election, especially with the vote by mail. Education, education, education. And they focus, like I said, on swing state support during the primary and general election. They've conducted primary letter writing campaigns, postcard campaigns in all of these districts, these states. They're expanding their activist base, collaborating with Dem parties in swing states, keeping everybody informed, implementing strategies and programs and to staff in Arizona and the other states. That's number 5 in the document that I provided. And one of the things that's important, because I've always been concerned, is that you hear Trump on the TV all the time. He's getting coverage all the time. And we really need to localize and define Trump's record of broken promises over the years. I mean, there's so many, and we've got to start hearing about it on TV and in the news and in the newspapers. We need to increase our the state party, they have increased their monthly investment in every state party by 33%, which is a great thing. And they've ramped up voter protection to help lift our Democratic nominee and Democrats down ballot to victory. And the Maryland Democratic Party, by the way, has a voter protection hotline that you might want to make note of. The number is there, and as well as the email address. They kicked off a multi-million-dollar investment in 2020 battleground states by training students of color. And my understanding is that this is going very, very well. And one thing that I'm very proud of, and I don't know if most Democrats know about this, but on May 17th, 2019, President Barack Obama, he actually established what he called the Democratic Unity Fund, which serves to provide a major launch pad for Democrats at all levels by scaling up critical organizing and data programs early, so that the DNC has strategically positioned itself to give our Democratic nominee, not to mention Democrats running for seats nationwide, a well-resourced operation they'll need to compete with Trump and the GOP re-election machine. And the good news about this is that since the fund was established, is that 191,535 Democrats have actually come together in support of the fund. And as of today, 20,285 people from Maryland alone have supported the fund. So the Democratic Unity Fund is already improving the data and technology that power thousands of Democrats' campaigns across the country. And unfortunately, in 2016, when Hillary Clinton ran for president, this fund didn't even exist. It's only been in existence for 1 year, and it was established, as I said, by our President Barack Obama. Another issue that the DNC is concerned about is the United States Postal Service, which is currently on track to run out of money in just a few months. And rather than supporting an institution that has brought our nation together through affordable and accessible services, the Trump administration is refusing to support the USPS. And the only reason he's trying to do that is because of vote by mail. He does not want vote by mail when it comes to the general election. So the DNC stands in strong opposition to allowing number 45 and his Republican cronies to dismantle the Postal Service, because we risk losing the livelihoods of hundreds of thousands of hardworking postal workers. It provides further disconnect of rural, poor, and Native communities from their needs, and accessible vote by mail, which has been in practice in many states and localities and is made possible by the Postal Service. So they've developed a very aggressive campaign to demand proper funding of the United States Postal Service. It's really ironic, because it's like we live in a world where wrong is right and right is wrong. And that's scary. It's scary. So, you know, when I think about what is the biggest challenge that we as Democrats throughout the state, what is our biggest challenge? And that's our biggest challenge, in my opinion, is ensuring that our Democratic nominee will scale rapidly and efficiently from the June 2nd primary election to the November 3rd general election. And I'm talking about rapid scaling in terms of human resources and physical infrastructure across the broad map. So what that means is that the central committees in the state of Maryland, local central committees, we have got to be on our A game and ready to hit the ground running. And so that's why I do what I do. And the promise is that the DNC promises that our Democratic nominee will inherit, number one, a very diverse, local, and trained staff. Number B, effective operations and data infrastructure, and program with strategic imperatives in each state. So now I'm going to go over to page 10. You all know that we currently have control of the U.S. House of Representatives. The DNC is working hard to take back. If we can win 4 seats in the Senate, if we can flip 4 seats in the Senate, then and maintain control of the House, then we will have control of the House and the Senate. That's why the DNC has been very proactive and aggressive in outreaching to these swing states, and they're listed here. The Democratic Senate candidates are in the blue box, and then you can see who the Republican incumbents are. You know, if we can flip 4 seats in the Senate and maintain control of the House, this world will be a better place. I think we'll be well on our way to repairing some of the damage and giving people the hope that is so desperately needed in the world today. I think back to President Barack Obama. That's one thing that he gave to the people. He gave us hope, which is why we flooded to the polls to vote for him. I mean, that was just unprecedented. And it just goes to show that, you know, if you give people what they need the most, you know, hope and an understanding and belief that, you know, that they have a president that truly does have their best interests at heart, and that he cares about the people who elected and put him or her into office. Those are very, very important things. So, and that's just what's missing. So that concludes my report. I can tell you a little bit about myself. I've actually been on the Central Committee since 2008, which is a very long time. I actually was appointed as a gender balance member in 2008, and then I was elected to my first 4-year term in 2010. But from 2010 to 2014, that entire 4-year term, I actually served as first vice chair of the Prince George's County Democratic Central Committee. And then I was reelected at large in 2014, and I served as chair for 2 years, from 2014 to 2016. And now I was reelected again, and I'm currently the chair, have been for the last 2 years. My term is actually up at the end of this month. And I think in June, we're going to hold a meeting, and I think I will run for reelection of my Central Committee. And we've been very successful in Prince George's County in terms of our strategic plan and the approach that we have taken in terms of what's the best way to actually embrace the Prince George's County community at large and all of its residents, and the need to actually educate them on how important it is to vote. So what we've done is we put in place, we established what we called community listening sessions. There are 8 legislative districts in Prince George's County, and each legislative district has 3 Central Committee members. And then of course we have 2 gender balance members. And the purpose of the listening sessions was for us to go to each legislative district on a rotating basis. And we took our show on the road, you know, to talk to them why it's important to vote and your role in providing them with opportunities to be a part of our work. And it's worked really, really well. But then we have COVID-19. So we had to stop doing it. But nonetheless, we're in the process of actually getting geared up so that we can coordinate our campaign with the state party once the primary election is over with. And of course, everything that we do will be virtual, online. We don't have, because of COVID-19. So anyway, this is the new norm. And I think everybody's doing the best that they can to make it happen. And I really consider it an honor to serve as chair of the Central Committee in Prince George's County and to serve as the interim DNC committee woman for Maryland. It's a lot of work, and I think I've done the most important thing that could be done in spite of COVID-19, and that was to educate myself on the DNC. And that's something, when I was elected, I had an idea, but I really didn't know. So, I had to actually sit down and do research. And so that's my story. That's where I am. And so
one of our members, Leslie, one of our attendees, Leslie Grant, has a question for you, I believe.
Okay.
Leslie, where are you?
I'm
Unmute yourself. There you go. No, unmute yourself.
There we go. Thank you very much for sending the materials ahead of time. I did review them, and I want to make sure you, my name is Leslie. I'm
Hi,
not
Leslie.
on the Central Committee, but I'm a frequent guest. I do pay my dues to the Maryland Democratic Party, and I belong to 3 Democratic clubs in Baltimore County. And one of the concerns that I have as someone who's a long-term supportive, involved Democrat is I don't understand the structure, and it's not well communicated to the members of various clubs in Maryland and what the priorities of the state party are. I'm a little concerned that as a representative, you had to do your own research to find out about the organizational structure of the DNC. To me, that should be something that is provided to all representatives upon their selection or election. And I see that as a grave issue and concern. Our unified communication to active Democrats so that we can actually communicate that structure to others. And also the fact that there doesn't seem to be sufficient organization to grasp the organizational structure, I guess, nationally and locally as well. I guess that's more of a comment, but perhaps you can correct my misconception and you can tell me all is well.
Well, I will say that all is well because I took the time to educate myself, and that's just me. I'm a self-starter. And let me just go back to when I came on the Central Committee here in Prince George's County in 2008. There was no process for orientation. I was like a fish out of water. And unfortunately, nobody really knew what was going on. And there's nobody there to tell you. And, I sat in that posture for I think 4 years straight. So what I decided to do was to actually pay attention, to figure out what to do and what not to do. That's why when I became chair of the Prince George's County Democratic Central Committee, I did something that had not been done in Prince George's County. And that is that when I onboard a new Central Committee member, whether they're replacing a member, whether they're gender balance, we also have a partnership with the Prince George's County Young Democrats. We have 2 members from the Young Dems that actually sit on our Central Committee, 1 male and 1 female. It's my business, it's my responsibility as chair to do orientation for them so that I can bring them up to speed with where we are and what we're doing. So the concern that you have, it's real to a point. And that's why it's important to me to go around and meet and talk with central committees throughout the state, because whatever is wrong, we can fix it, we can make it better. And that's what I intend to do. But
Cheryl,
if we lived in a perfect world, we'd all know.
Danielle, you have your hand up?
Yes, so what I was going to say, Cheryl, in honor of time here, because we have a lot of things we have to finish. This is the top of our meeting, but I first want to say thank you to you. This was just very informative. It was amazing, and I'm so happy that you were able to leave this document with us as well, because it has a lot of great information in it. So if anyone is interested, and I agree with you, we need to share this with our different groups, our local organizations, as well as with one another. And the meeting that you mentioned, I put something in the chat, but I just wanted to let you know, Tara, if you can make sure you get that information to us and share it with the executive committee, because I think that's important. Like I said, this was a wealth of great information that a lot of us didn't even know. So with that being said, if anyone else has a question, if you can please put your question in the chat, and what we will do, we can copy this and make sure we get those questions to Cheryl, and I'll make sure you get those questions answered.
And I promise I will respond expeditiously.
Yeah, she's good with responding right away. Thank you so much, Cheryl.
So thank you all, and everyone have a blessed evening.
You as well. Thank you.
Well, if you could, sorry. So Tara asked me to go through the agenda, and one of the things in the agenda, we've already jumped around a little bit, so I don't feel bad about jumping, is the June primary. And I thought if people had questions about the June primary, perhaps Cheryl could provide some insight, perhaps not, but I thought this was a time while we still have Cheryl online to bring it up.
Well, let me tell you, I recommend that you look at the video. The video answers question. It's very, very clear. It goes from A to Z. The video, and it's only 5 minutes. And then the Q&A questions that I included in that document, they should answer any questions that anybody has. But if you have any questions after that, after looking at the video and the Q&A, I recommend that you call the Baltimore County Board of Elections, because, or the State Board of Elections, because it's their process.
Cheryl, this is Linda Dorsey Walker. I had one thing. First of all, thank you for joining us.
You're more than welcome.
I go back a very long way on the Central Committee like you do. I have a question though. You know, one of the things that's been brought to our attention, not just in Baltimore County, but in some of the surrounding counties, is the fact that there are some voter ballot security issues that need to be addressed. Baltimore County today told me that they were going to start addressing them, but I'm not sure that the rest of the state has got it addressed. Specifically, you know, they'll start canvassing the vote on Thursday, the 21st, but then they'll have these ballot boxes up. 5 of them, approximately 5 to 6 of them in each county. We have 5 in our county.
Right.
Those ballots will be collected at 7 a.m., 2 p.m., and 8 o'clock in the evening. But there will be no one there throughout the entire course of the day. No one there except for the 10 or 15 minutes to come pick up the vote and then leave. And there'll be no one there to guard the ballot boxes for 11 straight hours from 8 o'clock until 7 a.m. So my question today to our Board of Elections after they said this, and I spoke with the county executive's office, is whether either election board staff or a private security force or county police or someone can be there, at least one person, to guard the ballot. Because, you know, in my lifetime, I can remember at least 3 or 4 times where people set mailboxes on fire. Can you imagine someone throwing a cigarette into one of those ballot boxes containing thousands of people's votes? So now they realize they have to fix it. They've already gotten in Baltimore County some people to be there throughout the night. And now they're going to look at having people there, at least one person throughout the day. And they've also decided to add security cameras all around every side of the ballot boxes. But that's something that needs to be addressed statewide.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%, because I am going to my Board of Elections tomorrow. They have a cardboard box and another box that looks like a recycle bin that's outside, not guard. It's the same situation here. That is unacceptable. Now, in my mind, I would think it makes sense. Why don't you put a drop box in the door? People can drop it in, right? Then it was resolved. So I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
I
You
do.
know, they really could have used county library drop boxes that are already a drop box inside of a secure building, but they didn't do that.
But you know how you can walk up to a door and just put it in the drop box in the door?
Mm-hmm.
That makes that, I mean, if they did that throughout the state, that would make more sense. But
Well, now they're going to try to fix the problem in the next 2 days.
I know.
Baltimore County and Baltimore City, but I don't know what's happening around the rest of the state.
Yeah, well, we have the same problem in Prince George's County, so and I'm going to be on it tomorrow.
Good.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Cheryl.
you.
So going back to the agenda, we kind of jumped around, as I said. There was an item on the agenda about the web potential update on our website work. I don't know who's doing that and who might give it. If you don't have it, that's cool. We'll move on. We got plenty of other things. Going once. Who's working on the website?
Is that you, George? I'm not sure who's working the website.
Which website? Our website or the these referencing the Maryland website?
I presume it's our website since this is our business.
What specific updates?
I don't know.
Crystal, I think it might be the photos.
Okay, well, I'll address them in my committee report if we can wait.
Okay. All right, then there was old business, whether people wanted to talk about the central committees, our own elections in July. Nominations are in June, elections are in July. If people had any comments or questions about that process, it's on the agenda to bring that up now. So anybody have anything they want to just unmute yourself and talk.
So I'll let someone else start off first and then I'll join in. Go ahead, Linda.
Huh?
Were you saying something?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. So did anybody have anything to say about the elections?
Well,
this is Pat. I have a question. I just received a copy of the email that someone forwarded to me because I didn't receive any information in reference to the April meeting or this meeting. I don't know what the problem is as to why I didn't get notification of the meeting, but I just pulled off the information that I needed, and it indicated that there were certain people who would or would not be interested in running for the for elections. And I'm just wondering, why is it that there were just only certain people that that information was given to, in terms of whether or not there are other members on the committee who may be interested in running for something, but they weren't contacted or their names are not included. Why is it just some people who are indicated that they will or will not run for a position and not the general membership of anyone else who may want to run?
Kara, are you on the line? You sent out that email and I think constructed. Can you speak to that?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, those are just to tell you of those people who are currently holding the offices, who was running and who wasn't. It wasn't anything about the full committee. It was just those people who currently are holding the offices, what their plans are.
So this is Danielle. I'll say this, and I'm not sure, Pat, you can correct me if I'm wrong. It seemed like it read as if there was letting individuals know that these two people weren't running or were running, and more so inferred. And I think some people felt a little intimidated by it. And I think that we talked about this in our last meeting, that, you know, everyone should be given a chance to run for the office. It doesn't matter who's going to run. I don't think we even needed to mention that. Just give everyone
Well,
a
that's
chance
what we agreed
to
to do at the executive committee meeting. That's what we all agreed. We said, let's let everybody know who's planning to run and who isn't. So that's why I did it. So I apologize if that caused an issue, but that was something that the executive committee agreed on.
Okay, so I would like other people who were at the committee to speak after I speak to say this, but what I got out of it, and I know I said, I don't think we should name names. We should let people decide whether or not they want to run, because it could be intimidating to someone to think, oh, if this person is running or if that person is running, then I'm not going to run it. We shouldn't do that. It should be a even playing field when everyone could run. So if anyone else who was at that committee, if you saw it any differently, or how did you interpret it?
Well, I was at the meeting, and one of the things that I was kind of just finding out about. I see somebody. Am I? Do I have the floor?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is that you know, when I was reading the bylaws, and it talked about the nomination meeting being in June, and then the vote would be in July. I took it to think that that was when we were going to talk about. That's when it was going to start with the people campaigning. But it was brought to my attention that people were starting to campaign right after Tara put out that she wasn't running for chair anymore. So I was a little confused with that. So I looked back at the bylaws, and it really didn't say a person couldn't do it. But I just thought that that's when it was going to start, was in June. But about Tara putting that out like that, people just started to just go for it right then and there. So, you know, that's what I wasn't really sure about in that regard.
Well, there are people who are currently campaigning, and so that's what concerned me. I had not seen the correspondence in terms of who would or would not be running again from the executive board at that time. It's just that there were people who are currently campaigning and nobody has been nominated, and so that leaves me to wonder, where are the other members on the State Central Committee in terms of who may or may not would like to run for any office, you know? And it seems like there's a little unfairness, you know, that you have people who are campaigning and who are being told this person is going to run, this person is not going to run, and the entire committee has not had an opportunity to even nominate anyone for those positions.
Brown has her hand up for a while now. Go ahead, Liz.
Oh, thank you. Well, just responding to both, I guess, Pat and Danielle. I mean, I can totally see that reading that could be confusing or intimidating, but I also think that it's kind of, a lot of people might be thinking, gee, I don't know whether or not I want to run. So it also seems useful if you are wondering whether the person's going to run again and you want to kind of think about it ahead of time, to, you know, just be able to know, like, oh, okay, Tracy is not or is going to run again for secretary. So, I mean, I think in a way it was useful to know that, just to, I guess, to be totally transparent, you know, rather than just people whispering amongst themselves.
Exactly.
So I think it was, you know, a good attempt to share information, whether it, you know, kind of ended up confusing some people. Also, I think that if we really want to define a period of campaigning versus not campaigning, that's something that maybe we could get some input on and talk about, maybe setting up a process and putting it in the handbook. But I think right now, I don't think there's anything in there that, you know, forbids people from talking about, you know, whether or not they're interested in running. I mean, I share Danny's concern, but at the same time, you know, so that's just what I wanted to say.
Cheryl?
And I agree with you, Liz, it can be looked at that way. I didn't want other people to feel intimidated because they thought someone else was going to run. That's
Cheryl,
yeah, that makes sense.
Cheryl has a question. Go ahead, Cheryl, unmute yourself.
Okay, so I wasn't sure what we were doing because we're not gender balanced at the moment. And I'm not clear as to whether or not associate members can or cannot run or vote for office. But there's people who are associate members who are eligible to run to be gender balanced members. And so I was wondering if we were gonna square that up before the board elections, just to be fair.
Look, Cheryl,
Cheryl,
we
did you
have
have a
at
plan
this
on that?
time approximately 4 gender balance slots that will have to be filled eventually. And as it turns out, all 4 of them are for females again. But relative to the status of associate members, they cannot vote and they cannot run for officers. Neither can at-large members. They can't run to be officers either. But we will have the opportunity to bring on 4 additional at-large.
Right, but my point is, can the gender balance members vote at least for officers?
No, they can't.
Why is that? That seems messed up.
No, because that's the rule for all central committees.
So, Tara, do you have anything to add on this? Are you there?
So I think, yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Or am I muted? Okay. So I think one of the issues is that at this point, there is not a timeline for us to be gender balanced. There was a timeline at one point, but it's not like the timeline for filling central committee members. So Linda is the chair of the nominating committee, and she can decide when she wants to begin the process of filling these gender balanced slots. And we kind of talked about it the last time that it's really going to be challenging to do during this COVID-19. It would have been nice to wait until that was kind of resolved. But if it starts to stretch on into months, I'm sure she'll find a way to work around that. But I do understand your point. If we bring those 4 gender balanced people in, they can also vote for officers. The other thing, just to let you know, is that associate members, they can't run for a particular office, but they can be subcommittee chairs. So it is possible for them to be on the executive committee if they are a subcommittee chair. So I just wanted to let you know that, but they don't have voting status. At-large folks can vote for anything except General Assembly folks, but they can't run for office. But similarly, at-large members can become subcommittee chairs, and that would put them on the executive committee.
Okay. So
I don't really plan on waiting very long to start the process. I was actually hoping to start it sometime in the next month to begin the process. It may just be 2 at a time for right now and then 2 later, or maybe we'll do all 4. After the nominations committee has had a chance to vote, we'll decide, okay?
So there are 2 ways to indicate that you want to speak. You can raise your hand, I can see you, or there's actually a raise your hand function on Zoom. And given the difficulties of this, I think you'll appreciate things will go better if we all raise our hands. And if somebody, or put it in chat, Katie's done a good job telling me that people have questions, but we can't talk over each other. It doesn't work. And you don't get your point across. So I appreciate the level of cooperation on that. Having said that, are there any more comments on the July? I see Danielle's hand up. Anybody else's hand up? Danielle.
So all I was just going to say, you guys, for those who are interested in running for any office, the Central Committee officer roles and responsibilities, we do have a list and you can choose from them. It's for the chair, the treasurer, the first vice chair, the second vice chair, and the secretary. So we do have a copy, and let us know and we will make sure we can get that email to you. That way you can make a decision on whether or not you feel like you are interested in fulfilling those roles and responsibilities. And you will also note that after the chair, the first vice and second vice chair, there's not much on there because they are in sync with the chair. So the chair, the first vice and second vice are usually all in one, and they work together and they feed off of one another and they share the roles and responsibilities.
Are there any other comments on this section of our discussion here?
I have a comment.
Who's that?
This is Linda Dorsey Walker.
Oh, hi, Linda. Okay, I didn't see
When
your hand.
someone asks a question that only applies to one person because that one person's the nominations chair and they're waiting to get an answer, the response may be a 2-part answer. Please don't wait until that person speaks Bob Benjamin to every single time make a point of talking about raising your hand. Okay, thank you so much.
Any other comments on this? Okay, so we have subcommittee updates. The first one is the bylaws, which is Danny and Liz, or Liz. Who wants to go first?
Ladies.
Ladies first.
Go ahead,
Oh,
Liz.
well, or gentlemen first. I mean, it is the 21st century. Yeah, bylaws, we have had our second meeting, and we had very lively conversation, and everyone, and we have given people homework, and we're working on different things that we'll bring back to the next committee meeting. But I think Danny, I'm going to let you talk about the highlight or the I just since I think it's or do you want me to? We obviously didn't coordinate this ahead of time.
No, it's fine. I tell you, we have been working. As Liz said, this is our second meeting. We had a great attendance at the meetings. A lot of discussion has been made and talked about in regards to some hot items. One of them that I'll bring to your attention would be the issue of elected officials holding dual seats. So I just want to kind of give you a little bit about that. That's something that we've been working on, and we pretty much have gotten the language together. So that will be presented to the full body for a vote soon, very soon. And I'm just elated that we are working together collectively. There's things that we are addressing far as other issues as well. So we're on our way, guys. We're on our way, and we're excited to present it to the full committee very soon.
Okay, with that report, we have the fairs and festivals. Is Aisha here? I do not see her. Does anybody know anything about fairs and festivals in Aisha's absence?
This is Nana, and I haven't heard anything from Aisha. She is in charge of fairs and festivals.
Okay, thank you, Nana. Fundraising, Noel and Katie. Yes. Who wants to go first?
I think this is Noel's show. Where
Noel,
is he?
Noel has disappeared. Go ahead.
Okay, I have some unfortunate news. The fundraising committee had decided, we had been given the option that we could ask Valley Mansion to refund our $4,000 that we put down as a deposit on the October 1st Unity dinner. Unfortunately, and they were supposed to send us a check. The check didn't arrive. Noel actually called there, and they told us that since our event was in October, the economy might be open, and that would not be a premise for returning our down payment. I spoke with them today. They are going to put in writing that we have the $4,000 if the economy is open, but we don't want to go ahead with a Unity dinner of $75 to $85 if we don't feel we can guarantee 300 participants, that they will let us take that $4,000 and apply it to a future event. So basically, I'm discouraged that we're not getting the money back. It's going to really impact our cash flow. But in other respects, I'm thinking this is a great opportunity to do a lower dollar event, perhaps a brunch, maybe something a little bit more informal, something with less people or more people at a lower price. So, but anyway, I had a very good conversation with Valley Mansion. They're going to put everything in writing. And we'll just hope that, as things proceed, she's telling me that most people who have events October, September, October, November are just holding on. That's something that the fundraising committee is addressing. We are looking at other ways to make money and solicit donations. So I'm just, hoping, that, things get better with the economy and things get better with the, the outlook for the coronavirus. So that's where we are.
Noel, do you have anything to add if you
Oh, there he is.
to the fundraising committee report that was just given? I see you, Pat. I'll get to you. Noel, do you have anything to add to the report?
I just, this whole COVID-19 thing is a whole new ball of wax. So I don't know what's going to happen. We may have our unity dinner for all I know. So I think if we hang in there, I think we'll get our money back if our current situation with things being shut down continues. But we just have to keep it together.
It's a little like dealing with the airlines right now.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
We had a question. Unmute yourself, please, Pat. Unmute yourself, please, Pat.
Unmute, Pat.
I just have a question. Katie, did you say the check had not arrived?
Basically, what happened is that, we made a down payment on the Unity dinner months ago. And NOAD contacted them, when, the economy shut down, when they had the stay-at-home order. And originally, his contact told him that they would return to us a check for $4,000. And I just let him know, it had not been received. And so at that point, he called and, recontacted them, and they said, oh, no, we cannot refund your money, because if the economy is open October 1st, there's no reason that you cannot have your event. So in lieu of that, they're going to work with us to take that $4,000 and perhaps have a different kind of event, or the same event if there's, we'll have to see.
We have leeway to postpone it, even postpone it till next year. So they are flexible that way. So
Daniel, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I was waiting for Noel to finish. Are you finished, Noel?
Yes.
Okay, so I was just going to say that we can just wait, like with anything else and with the cruise lines, that the odds may work in our favor, because if we're still in that same situation, or we have a second wave with the pandemic, then everything's going to be closed anyway, and then they're going to have to offer the money. So let's just wait and see, and if not, then we'll just go ahead with next year. So it may work out for us.
Anything more on fundraising? Okay, we'll move on to communications, and that's Crystal. There you are, Crystal.
Yes. Good evening. Can everyone hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
All right. So I have a couple of updates here. Since the last time we met in April, we have been able to update the committee members' pictures on the website. So if you go onto our website, go to the More tab, scroll down, you'll see the Central Committee pictures. Please note that if you have a blank avatar there, that means that no picture was received. So if you don't want your picture up, it's not mandatory. If you do want your picture up and you notice that it's not there, please let us know. Also, if you do not like the way that your name is displayed, we are happy to make corrections. George, did you want to add anything to the pictures? George is the one who selected most of the pictures. We asked you to either send us one via email, or if not, if George had a copy of a photo in his film, in his camera, then he used that.
Yes, just to add, we had a little trouble resizing them to fit, but most of them look pretty good. The one person I do not have that's new is Mark Brewster. I need you to email us a picture, because you're here, but your picture can go in the slot. Also, let's see. Well, let's see, 1, 2. We have 6 names that have icons instead of pictures. But the one I'm really concerned is Mark, who is new. Everybody else I've kind of seen before and around. Other than that, just go there and take a look at them. Tell me how you like them. Check out the website.
And to address Danny, if you've sent a picture to, we asked individuals if they could email their pictures to the info@Baltimore County, and I think Katie was getting them and uploading them to the site. But if you sent your picture to either the secretary or someone else, and they have not sent it, I will reach out to the secretary to see if there are any other pictures if they were sent to individuals' private emails instead of the actual Central Committee info box. And if we can't recover it, we'll reach out to you and get the picture to upload. So my apologies if you sent a picture to someone else and we weren't able to recover that. We will make sure that we get it. So if you don't have a picture, you can just put your name in the chat and I'll record that down and work on figuring out where your picture is. For the second update here, we were able to work with Tara to help update our Central Committee newsletter head. And just as a FYI, we affixed the membership roster to that. So it looks pretty good. We published our first spring quarterly newsletter. It was sent out this evening. So if you go to your email box, you'll see In the Loop spring edition. We're doing quarterly newsletters. And just to give you a little synopsis, it opens up with the message of the chair. It gives you just a little bit of information about our elections that are coming up. It gives you a legislative snapshot regarding the bills that Hogan vetoed that were strongly supported by Democratic organizations and councils. It gives a shout out and congratulations to all of our newly elected and appointed officials in Baltimore County. It talks about the get out the vote and identifies all of the organizations in Baltimore County on the grassroots level that are working to get the presumptive nominee, Joe Biden, elected to office. It provides an update on our meetings and events that are taking place through June the 6th. And it also showcases our fundraising corner, which broadcasts the fact that we are, there is an opportunity to purchase the tote bag and the Democratic Party t-shirt, with a plug regarding one of the fundraising suggestions that we provided to look at advertising space, offering that up to help us for at least low dollars. So just a FYI, we may be, depending on who's interested, maybe getting emails for individuals who are interested in purchasing advertising space. Now, that's one thing that we would have to work with either Tara and the fundraising committee to shore up what that process is going to look like. But we are advertising that is something that we'll be looking to offer. Finally,
okay.
I'm sorry, I have 2 more updates and I'll be done. Finally, we have made over 60 social media posts on Facebook and social media with an average of 2 posts per day. Thank you to everyone, even if you're not on the committee and you've been sharing information on different pages, we've been trying to share it. Our best posts are averaging 2,000 engagements per day. And we are actually managing our posts through Hootsuite during periods because we know people are working. So we're using Hootsuite. It's a free account that allows us to set up a social media calendar and post the whole month in advance. And then lastly, we developed a social media get out the vote strategy. And we're working with District 6 to ensure that we are really pushing get out the vote communications so that we can ensure that our districts that are turning purple participate in record numbers. That concludes my report. If anyone has any questions.
I do have a question. I just looked at this newsletter as it arrived. This is Danny Golombek, sorry. And it looks fantastic. It's very easy to read, very clear, lots of white space. But I would prefer not to click on it. If it's possible to just send it as the body of an email instead of having to click and go somewhere else. I think the least work we have to do, or other people that are not as engaged as we are, might benefit on the readership.
Yes, and I'll address that for you for why that is that way, because I agree. I like sometimes when it's in the body, but because there were significant links that need to be clicked on and it's in a PDF format, it would have been difficult for us to upload the type of formatting document that we use this time into the NGP van. Engagement Center has a lot of limitations. So in order for me to send, you can't attach a PDF directly into the NGP van. I had to create a link to a website for a URL because it only supports images. And if I would have uploaded the newsletter as an image so that you could actually see it in your email as a document, you wouldn't have been able to click on the many links inside the newsletter, which would direct you to places to register for events. So that's why we selected that option. But what we'll do is I'll take it back to the committee to see if there is any other way that we could try to achieve both of those goals. And I'll get back to you on that.
Well,
Okay,
Crystal, I
anyone?
think that the webpage looks really, really great. And for a long time, we've been talking about putting our photos there. And finally, it's beginning to be done. And so I thank you for doing that because we started collecting photos over a year ago.
Yes, and thanks to Katie for that because she was really integral in helping getting those photos uploaded to the site.
So Leslie Grant has indicated through chat that she has a question. Thank you for doing that, Leslie. Go ahead, Leslie. You're on mute.
Unmute yourself.
Yeah. Unmute yourself,
Yes,
Leslie.
sorry. Thank you very much. And thank you for allowing me to be a participant in the meetings. I'm always cognizant of the fact that I am your guest, so I appreciate it. First of all, bravo, hooray. It's great to have the newsletter back. And thank you for your efforts. And Linda, I do remember that more than a year ago, it seems like it's closer to 2 years, you've been trying to get those photos in at Central Committee meetings. So I do remember all of your efforts and congratulations on having that come to realization. It's great to have the newsletter back. So my question is this going to be distributed to the presidents of the county clubs so that they can disseminate it to their members? If you recall, I've asked that same question about Tara's updates, her weekly or every other week updates. I don't get them from the clubs that I belong to. So to encourage and make sure that those presidents know, I think is important. And my second question is, and I don't know if it's appropriate because as you heard from my previous question or comment, I'm not sure the hierarchy, but in terms of mddems.org, is this something that is shareable with them for their website? Also, will it be just directly linked to the Baltimore County Club, Baltimore County, Central Baltimore County, you know who you are, Central Committee.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So thank you so much for your questions. The first one regarding the presidents, yes, we can send those out. One of the things is the NGP van function has the email addresses of anybody that has subscribed. So it's one email send, but I am happy to ensure if we can do a blast, I'll see how Tara wants to coordinate that, if she's okay with me going ahead and collecting those, or if she prefers to do it since she's chair. But we'll shore that up and make sure that the Democratic Club presidents, because I'm not aware of those email addresses for everyone. The second thing, that was another benefit to the link to the URL, because you can copy and paste that URL and share it how you see fit. And I don't think that the Central Committee would have a problem if the state decides that they want to use and upload it to their website. I don't think that we would rebut against that.
Anybody else have any questions or comments? Please raise your hand or indicate on chat. Okay, so we'll move on to party building, and that has sort of evolved into an effort by Jason and Liz in terms of Baltimore County for Biden. And so I'm going to let Jason and Liz handle that. And I see Jason has unmuted himself, so has Liz. So it's up to you two to decide who goes first.
I will let Liz start.
Oh, did you? Okay. Well, our group is loosely actually called Baltimore County Grassroots for Biden, just to kind of emphasize the fact that we were just folks who are like, hey, let's take the action training for Biden and let's get together and start doing stuff. And the Facebook page is Baltimore County for Biden, and the effort that is led by Shelley Hedelman and Dana Stein is officially Baltimore County for Biden. So if you look in the newsletter, there's a kind of a draft logo, and we'll see what Jason and the others think of it, because I don't know if I showed that to them yet. But anyway, so that's Baltimore County Grassroots for Biden, and we've been having a really great time. We did a kickoff. Many of you came, and thank you so much. It was great. I mean, we had about over 80 people coming and going throughout the evening, and we were able to highlight things about, you didn't have to actually go through a whole hour's worth of training on the Biden website. We sort of kind of broke it down and kind of gave some shortcuts. And actually, we do have a slide deck that we have now updated. So it occurs to me we should probably kind of distribute that to all of y'all. And one thing I wanted to mention before turning it over to Jason, who's been busily building the volunteer database of the century for our county, I've actually been working on kind of a get out the vote. Did you know that we were voting by mail kind of thing, phone bank, which is based on a script that the Maryland Dems have. They have a phone bank for this and for different counties, but to kind of, because I don't like killing birds, but I like, I like accomplishing a bunch of things all at the same time. The script, has a lot of stuff about how, hey, make sure that you vote by mail, et cetera, information. But then it also steers the conversation if you get someone who's willing to talk, and you find out that they're real, either a committed Democrat or they just want to get rid of Trump, then you can steer them toward, volunteering to volunteer. And then we'll put that information in the van, and then we can extract that and use that, not just for Baltimore County Central Committee per se, but also for our grassroots Joe Biden efforts. So what I wanted to ask is if any of y'all are interested in making calls in your district, or maybe organizing something in your district with volunteers. I don't really like calling, but I don't mind organizing. And if you are interested in that, you can contact me or drop something in the chat. I think we're going to do it for 42B. I'm interested in doing it for 8. I think also Katie said District 6, but there are many other districts. And if y'all are interested in doing it, we can come up with, we'll put the script in, we'll have the open phone bank, a link to that and everything. And then we can also work on exactly who you want to target. I mean, I'm sort of thinking target good Democrats and make sure that they're going to show up to vote, because hopefully some of them will be engaged enough to volunteer. So that's my part of it. And over to Jason.
I don't know what more to say after that, because Liz did a wonderful job of summarizing all the things we got going on. So I made an appeal to you all before. I'm going to make another follow-up appeal. If you know people who want to be involved, or people come to you saying, how can I be involved? Please feel free to redirect them to Liz and myself. That'd be fantastic. I appreciate that in advance. Please also like the Facebook page, and there's a form for people to fill out to volunteer as well. But separate from that too, Liz and I are trying to also help with other get out the vote efforts. We're trying to help with District 6, for example, with the May 30th event. We've also reached out to others in some other districts, like District 10 and others, with various communities, to see how we can help with their efforts get out the vote, or to get volunteers as well. Katie and I have been working on a project to reach out to new voters in 42A and B. That's also going on at the same time. And I'm under the impression that everything will be sent out for 42A, certainly, I think by the end of the week. So that's good as well. And other than that, I think we've exhausted everything with the grassroots group and all the related efforts for Get Out the Vote.
Yeah, actually, Crystal may want to say something about the May 30th thing, if you want to, Crystal.
Sorry.
Yeah,
It is in the loop. It is in the newsletter.
Oh, perfect, perfect.
Yes, it is in the newsletter, as well as the link to the Grassroots for Joe. So basically, we're working on trying to get our Johnny O, Mfume, and Dutch to be our headliners. Our whole town is this, our whole theme here is this local hometown hero to try to galvanize people around the vote in District 6 to also let them know that we have their presence, because we were intending to do an event in Turner Station that had to be postponed because of the COVID. But there have been discussions to open it up countywide, but we still are going to ensure that we have a significant focus, but we want a larger showing. So we're discussing opening up invitations countywide.
And I think Linda has her hand up. Did you have a question?
No, I don't have a question. I just have a comment.
Cool.
Yes, Crystal, as you know, as everyone knows, we started off several months ago talking about trying to energize to get out the vote for Turner Station. So mostly focusing on that part of the county. But now as we've gotten closer to the primary deadline, there are other groups. There's Maryland Women for Biden, Black Women for Biden, other groups that are doing things that are now going to be scheduled for hopefully beginning this weekend and going forward for the 11th, for the 10th, for 44B. You know, I made a point of getting church. I got a few extras. I got a few extras. I also got some Biden signs, since they said they weren't going to buy them, and for a while there they weren't available online. I also got some giant Biden banners, and I also have got a Biden cutout stand-up. And the whole point is that we will start covering this county in a car caravan. We'll have it in the 6th district, but we'll also have it in the 11th district, the 10th district, the 44B, and anywhere else. You know, somewhere I have my megaphone, and we can use music in each district. If we have at least 6 cars and decorate them with signs and balloons and have a little bit of music and so forth, we can do a slow cruise. And those of you who know what I'm talking about know what a slow cruise is, through the neighborhoods to get people excited about the primary election, so that as they're sitting on their front porches and gardening and so forth, they'll say, oh yeah, I forgot to put my ballot in the box. Let me take it there now, or let me show up on June 2nd and do that. And we're also going to give them a little information, like if you've lost your ballot, don't lose, hope for casting your vote. You can go online. Here's how you can get a second ballot, and some other kinds of things. We're going to do it in a socially distanced way. In addition, we're going to have some sign waves at key intersections over in Turner Station area, over in Randallstown, Owings Mills, and so forth. Sign waves where we stand apart, so we're socially distanced, but people can see the signs waving. And then hopefully at a couple of those sites, like Solace Point Multipurpose Center and Fleming Community Center. And I talked with Rosita. Sita, you still online? She's on this call somewhere. We're talking about maybe having that Joe Biden cut up standing there, so that as people come by down the street, they can stop and take a picture with their children and themselves and Joe. So those are just ways that instead of just doing phone banking and postcarding, that people can be out in the community feeling engaged.
Yet socially distanced.
Oh, that's great, Linda. Thank you. Does anybody else have any, Jason?
One more thing. So we talked about the May 30th event, which initially sprung out of this Turner Station idea that Crystal and Linda had. Also on the 31st, the following day, there is a statewide Get Out the Vote effort that's also in the Loop newsletter, in the Loop newsletter, for those interested in hearing more about that.
If there are people from the 11th and 10th and 44B that would like to volunteer this weekend or have friends or people from Black Women for Biden or anything like that that want to be part of that first caravanning, please let me know so that we can get all that needs to be done, and people can be wearing their T-shirts, and we can get people excited.
Yeah, and one more
Go ahead.
interjection, just real quick. Even if you don't live in those districts and you want to help, we are taking as many people as possible. That's all.
Danielle had her hand up.
So I just want to say you guys got me really excited. So I am the national co-chair for Black Women for Biden, and we have over 30 states with several women involved. And what I'm going to do, especially with our Maryland group, we'll get together with you guys, get today, but we do have our own T-shirts, but they're still for Biden. And so we will definitely get some cars in there and join you guys. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else have their hand up or want to talk, or I see some stuff in chat.
I'll just,
go ahead, Liz.
just one quick thing, Bob, and I also put this, but yeah, we know there are lots of things probably going on that, not everyone knows throughout the county. And so it would be great to just, like, if you want to let me know or let Jason know or Crystal or whatever, so that we can amplify and kind of get the word out. So if there's something going on that's just in 44B, that's still part of Baltimore County, and we'd like to help get the word out on the Facebook page. Thanks.
Danny, did you have something? Did you wanted to say, Danny Blunt?
No, well, I was just saying, she just answered that, just to support wherever the event's going to be, that's what we all need to gravitate to, and you just move around and just support it, so it could be a bigger show of support for Joe.
Okay. Anybody else? Hand up? Anything?
Charles.
If I could say something that hadn't been mentioned tonight, and but it's in the same vein about voting. I'm not certain how many of you may have been paying attention to what's going on with the State Board of Elections, but I think it would behoove us that we reach out to people, your networks, to make certain that people are checking that their addresses are on file, that are on file at the Board of Elections is accurate. During this 7th congressional election, there were over 28,000 ballots that went undelivered. 28,000, 20,000 in Baltimore City, over 4,000 in Baltimore County, and just under 4,000 in Howard County. Additionally, when you talk about voter education, because most people are not used to voting absentee, you had just over 5,000 votes that were disqualified because people either had postmarks that were after April 28th, or people did not sign the oath. And in some instances, you had people who put multiple ballots in the same envelope, which means only one person of those multiple people were able to sign the oath, which meant that everyone else who didn't sign the oath ballots were disqualified. In addition, you had people who were attempting to vote for one candidate, realized they made a mistake, would then cancel that vote and fill in another circle and then try to indicate. And if they read the ballot itself, they would have realized that by doing that, they disqualified themselves. They should have, if they made a mistake, they needed to get a whole new ballot. So I mention all this just to say we need to make certain that we're putting that message out, that there's a right way to do things, and make certain that we're educating our people. That's all. Thank you.
Correct. Anybody else got, Danielle, is that a hand up?
Yeah, I was going to say that is exactly right. I definitely agree with you, Charles. But one thing is I did call and talk to someone at the Board of Education. So they all need to be on one accord, because when I asked them about a name for someone, and they said, oh, no, that's okay. You made a mistake. It's all right. It's fine. So, I like what you said. And I think that we definitely need to give that information out. So thank you for saying that.
Which board? The board said it was okay to
because one of the persons who had it, they came out of line, then they changed their mind, and they said, that's okay. We'll see where you lined it out and wrote the name. So what you just said contradicted what someone in the office said. So thank you for saying that.
Yeah,
We need
it
that
it says it
information.
right on the ballot, which
Yeah.
surprised me, and they disqualified the person. So there does need to be a consistency across each of the boards.
In my situation personally, because I ran in 2018, I used my PO box because I didn't want my private address out in the public. So I thought with all of my other mail coming here, but they still were using that and sent my ballot to the PO box and they were returned. But because of people I know at the Board of Elections, they called me and said, look, this is what's going on and we'll send it to you. So just be cognizant, like he said, with your mailing and your addresses. And also please sign up for the Baltimore box. Black Girls Vote have something. We have to get 2,000 boxes out. You'll get a free box in the mail. And it's just a program they're doing. I posted on Facebook. If you want it personally, I'll send it to you. But it's a big campaign with voting for Baltimore County and Baltimore City.
Cheryl had her hand up.
Yeah, so I just wanted to piggyback off of Charles that somebody, so Robbie posted on his Facebook page, like to vote for him as a delegate. And then somebody he knows responded to him. She was trying to be like all feminist or whatever, all proud. She said she voted for 7 women and then she voted for Robbie. But the ballot specifically says 4 women, 4 men. So whatever women she voted for are going to be invalidated. And I've had somebody go off on me the other day. I was on a Zoom call that was, we were just postcarding, but she was going on or off about how, like, it's not fair that the party is telling her who she can and cannot vote for. Not like we can do anything about it. But there's a lot of people I saw in another Facebook post that an older gentleman filled it out in pencil, mailed it back in, and then when he found out that it was supposed to be in pen, he was just like, oh, well, they can just throw it out then. People really are not reading the instructions.
Yeah.
Any more comments from people? Go ahead, Delegate Bondari.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Senator. That was a wonderful, wonderful information. If we could come with a poster, what exactly they should not be doing or they should do, we could put on our website and we could share. If I get that information, I will ask my brother to design it and it will look very fancy and Baltimore County Democrats, and so everybody can share that.
I have something that I already wrote that I did for work. That's a 16 question frequently asked questions document. But I don't know if I would be allowed to share that because I work for state government. So it might be in violation of some of our ethics rules. But I could share it with somebody and you could modify it, I guess.
Yeah, that would be wonderful.
Also, again, people need to be aware of the fact that, you know, they have the right to ask for a second ballot, even if they can't find the first, and they can go online. There is a scan on the ballot if you print it out from email, and it will work. So a lot of people think, well, I'm in a panic because I still haven't gotten my ballot yet. Then no problem, just go on the website and print out a ballot. It's got a scan. They understand that it's already been discussed, it'll work. Or you can go to the Board of Elections and get another one. They're only going to let each ballot be processed once, so it doesn't matter.
Point of information, and this is a question for Charles Sidnor, Senator, and maybe somebody else knows about Cheryl's comment. When you overvote like that, you're only supposed to vote for 4, but you vote for 7. Does that invalidate your entire ballot or just that section of the ballot? Who knows?
Just that section.
Just that section.
Just that section.
So in effect, she tried to vote for 7 women, and the upshot of that, she voted for no women.
Yeah, it doesn't invalidate the whole ballot, just that section.
I know what I was.
Senator?
I was a poll watcher during the 7 congressional districts. I was watching the polls from Baltimore County and Baltimore City, and what they did do, those people that overvoted, they is rejected, and then from 4 to 6 every night, they would sit there and go over the ballots. And they would call the person's home, but if they didn't answer, they would reject it. But if the person answered and they could identify him over the phone properly, then they would let him choose which ones he decided to do. So that's how they actually tried to get through with Baltimore County. Now, Baltimore City, it was total confusion there, but Baltimore County did have a process where they called the person's home who actually didn't vote. I mean, if they voted improperly or they found some type of discrepancy.
Edith, did you have your hand up?
I did, but y'all are well past that, so just go on.
Well, okay, I'm looking at 30-something odd little pictures, and if I missed you, I apologize, but I appreciate you raising your hand and being patient.
No problem.
Anybody else got their hand up or otherwise indicating they want to speak? All right, well, Danny, is that you're moving to the screen? Is that a hand up?
No, no.
Okay, all right. Well, listen, that seems to conclude this evening's affair. We need a motion to adjourn and a second on that.
So I just want to make sure that I have been recorded as being present in the meeting.
Who is that?
Jay Jalisi.
Oh, hi, Jay. How are you?
Good.
Okay, Jay Jalisi's been here, yeah.
Okay.
Any other final thoughts? Can we get a motion to adjourn?
I have a motion, Bob.
Second?
Second.
Delegate Bhandari.
All right. Everybody in favor of adjourned?
Say aye. Aye.